Welcome to Grow Your Yoga. My name is Todd McLaughlin, and I'm so happy that you're here. Today, we're going to focus on how to handstand, techniques for beginners and advanced. I'm here at Native Yoga Center in Juno Beach, where my wife and I have been teaching for the past 18 years together. And handstand is a really fun practice. It is an advanced yoga pose. So if you are a beginner, I want you to start off, I'm going to show you 5 tips that'll help you build from the beginner level to the advanced, starting off very simple to holding handstand in the middle of the room without any assistance. 5 tips. Let's start off on tip number 1. All right. So the first thing with the handstand really is to figure out how we're going to place our hands on the floor in our alignment and our positioning and start to build the strength that is appropriate for a handstand. Now there are a whole bunch of different thoughts about the width of the hands and should I have my fingers together or apart? Should I have my middle fingers forward? Should I have my index fingers forward? So what we need to do is figure out something that works really well for you. So today I'm just going to point out beginning technique, which is plant your palms on the floor and align your hands about shoulder width apart. Aim your middle fingers directly forward. And you have room to oscillate between having your index finger forward and your middle finger forward. Often, I end up going really wide, but one of the general rules of thumb is to have your hands shoulder width apart. And in the beginning, position number 1 is this one right here. Come into your cat-cow position and work your ability to rock your weight forward and back so that you start to learn how to distribute the weight on your hands. When you're handstanding, it's just like when you're standing on your feet. You have the ability to lean forward and counter press through the feet and the floor. And if you lean back, you try to dorsiflex the ankles to lift the feet to pull you back forward again. So the same way that your feet steer you when you're standing, your hands are steering you in your handstand. So when you align your hands about shoulder width apart, what we do here first is in the cat-cow shape on the hands and knees, practice rock forward and push your fingertips down into the floor. Practice rock back and try to lift your fingertips off the floor. Rock forward, press your fingertips into the ground. Rock back and see if you can actually lift the fingertips off of the floor with the root of the fingers down on the ground. That's where your fingers attach onto your hand. So try it one more time. Rock forward, press down. Rock back, lift your fingertips if you can, and press the root of the fingers down. Great. Position number 2, tip number 2. Once you've established a good connection with your hands on the floor, believe it or not, downward facing dog is one of the best handstand preparation poses. I'm serious. If you go to down dog, you curl your toes under, you raise your hips, because what we need to do is build the ability to have our arms come all the way above the head with your shoulder stretch. This is called shoulder flexion. So like another good way to do this is if you have a archway where you can put your hands in the archway and you can either hold on to like a bar. If you go to the gym or you go to the park, find a bar that you can hold on to. Hang on to that and stretch your shoulders by letting your body hang, because it is really difficult to hold a handstand if you can't lift your arms above your head. We really need to work on this ability to move the arms, which is a lot of it is the movement of your scapula. So a great way to stretch your shoulders in this one is to either find a bar to hold on to or an archway above and then lean into it. So this is a lot like what we do in downward dog, but this is one of the key stretches. And another way that you can go is putting your hands on the wall and drop down, and you can stretch your shoulders that way. But because handstand does require a lot of arm strength, it's imperative that you start putting the weight down onto the arms. So as you raise your hips up and you drop your head down, work that deep shoulder stretch and practice in the beginning. If you're a beginner, as a beginner, set an alarm clock and see if you can hold a 5-minute down dog. Once you can get up to about a 5-minute hold, probably 60 seconds would be really challenging at the beginning when you start practicing. When you can get into that long holding, you're able to cultivate enough strength to hold your arms stable, because when you go into handstand, we don't want to be weak and bend the elbows and fall out of it. So we really need to cultivate strong arms. And The other element is you have what are called your tricep muscles on the back of your arms. When your triceps contract, your elbows straighten all the way. So when we're holding the handstand, we're going to stack the bones and joints above one another. So if we have bent elbows, it's way harder to hold. If you can lock your elbows out and rest your shoulders directly above your wrist joints, then you're not going to have to work as hard. It's a lot easier. All right, so that's it. Tip number 2, just start holding downward dog. Tip number 3, what we do is we use a wall, and now we're going to lift our hips above the hands in a down dog on the wall. So what you do is you bring your heels against the wall, and you touch your hands onto the floor. You take one foot, put it on the wall, the other foot, put it on the wall, and then balance here where you press into your arms and start holding the pose as long as you can with your hips above your shoulders to come down. One foot on the floor, other foot on the floor. This one is a little more challenging. So if you don't have the upper body strength to hold yourself up like that, then it's really important that you cultivate the down dog first. The other thing that I see a lot of people do, I'm going to turn sideways. Actually, I might have to stay this way for you. Is that they go too close to the wall and they try to do the handstand with their feet way, way above here. In the beginning, try to do a little bit more of an L shape. Take your hands back. And instead of like walking the feet all the way up the wall, bring your feet down and press into the floor and align your hips more above your shoulders, which again is this sort of movement here. So in other words, you're going to be like this against the wall and not like this. We got to go like this. So that's key. All right, tip number 4. Once you can do that, now we flip around and start to kick up. Now this is advanced. If you're at home and you don't have a partner to help you, you're going to need to wait till you can get somebody who's skilled in this to help you kick up. But a little more advanced is to turn facing toward the wall and to start working your ability to touch your foot onto the wall and to take the other foot on the wall. And now you just start holding. This is where you set your alarm and you just start to see how long can you hold. If you feel any shoulder pain, I'm talking about pinching your shoulder, any sort of major shoulder discomfort, you got to come down. You need to work your down dog and get your down dog really comfortable before you start handstanding. So that's the progression number 4. Tip number 5. Well, at some point, you got to hold the handstand out in the middle of the room. And I don't suggest doing this until you either A, have somebody spot you, B, you learn how to fall, and C, you've developed enough strength in your arms. So the handstand in the middle of the room, there's a lot of different ways to get into the handstand. So I'm going to point out 2 main ways. And I think usually this first way is what most people try to do because it's a little easier to get up there. And what we do is we take one leg as the swing and the other leg as the spring. In other words, you're going to swing with one leg and you're going to coordinate springing with the other. So you swing and spring. You swing up, jump. Now the key is to do little tiny baby jumps. And again, you got to do this at your own risk, all right? Like I'm making this look way easier than it is. So if you're not ready for this part yet, don't do it. But if you're working on the handstand, the next challenge for most of us is like, I'm really scared I'm going to fall over. That's a super legitimate concern. Now, if I kick up and I start to fall, I'm going to just twist to the side. The key is don't go up and timber, boom, and fall on your back. Don't do that. Don't do it. What you do is to fall to the side, I'm lifting the pressure off of one arm, leaning on the other, and that's how you rotate. So a good way to practice this is to jump and go to one side, jump, and go to the other. Start to build the ability. Your exit strategy is going to be to go to one side, or whichever way your natural way is the other. Because once you have that, then if you're going up, you start to fall, just simply twist to the side and land. All right, so that's our exit strategy. You need to have one. All right, so for your handstand, the idea, I'm going to swing up, spring, and I'm going to start to take this leg above my head and counterlever off of that leg and find the balance point I start to fall, and I pivot, turn, and come out. Now, a way to do this with the wall is now, so I have a safety net. I'm going to try to kick up and come all the way to the wall and use my other leg as a counterweight. If you can get 1 foot on the wall and 1 foot away from the wall, then what can happen is you slowly tip off of the wall and you find, there you are, in your handstand. So this is a reasonable technique for being able to kick up. Now, the other technique is way harder. Nobody ever wants to do this one. I encourage them to do it. But I'm always there to catch them when I am showing. So here, I'm not able to catch you. So this one, I'd rather be with you or have you find somebody that can help you. But this one's called the donkey kick. You lean forward and you try to kick your own butt. Kick your own butt. Kick your own butt. And eventually you go up and you hold it. You go up and you go up and you hold it. And once you can hold here, slowly raise your legs up. Slowly. And just keep working on it. I try to work on my handstands every single day because it's one of those things that if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So keep putting your weight on your arms. And then if you have an injury or you have a situation where your shoulders, I've had experiences where my shoulders and my wrists were, I overtrained and I got hurt. So the idea is that listen to your body. If at any point, like maybe you're all coming back to the beginning phase where you're down here working your balance with your hands like this, just come back to tip number 1. Okay, I'm going to run through the tips again, the 5 tips to conclude and remind you so you have strategy. Strategy is key. All right. So remember, first, establish the alignment of your hands. Rock forward, push down, rock back, lift your fingers. Second, downward facing dog. Work the hands, stretch your shoulders, build the strength. Tip number 3, downward dog on the wall. Put your feet against the wall. Your hands at about the same width you would in a regular down dog. 1 foot on wall, other foot on wall, press and hold. Tip number 4, kicking up on the wall, hands about 8 inches away, swing up, touch, and practice holding in the handstand vertical for as long as you can. Tip number 5, eliminate the wall and do it all by yourself. And just start working on swinging up and holding your balance. And if you can get your other leg up, take it up next to it. Practice holding your balance and hold your handstand as long as you can. A little bit every day. Every day. Just a little bit. Good. And come down. They're fun. They feel amazing. My heart is pumping. I'm sweating all of a sudden. It didn't take much, right? Great way to build upper body strength by just using your body weight. Gravity. You don't need a whole bunch of equipment. You really don't. All you got to do is use the floor and gravity. Handstands are amazing. Yoga is amazing. Remember to check us out, nativeyogacenter.com. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, the bell to be notified every Thursday. I've now split my sessions on Thursdays into 2 live streams, focusing on beginner yoga at 11:30 and advanced yoga here at 12. Remember, if you have any questions, send them my way. Send me some questions. I will happily respond and make a video specific for you. Check out my podcast, Native Yoga Toddcast, every single Friday. Another guest coming out this week. I can't wait for you to check it out. An amazing guest. It's awesome, actually. I can't wait to publish this one. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Remember, just keep moving, keep breathing, don't give up. Sometimes the body gets a little painful. Work through it. You can work through anything. Keep working at it. Don't give up. Keep working at it. Don't give up. You got this. Keep going. All right, namaste. I'll check and see if I have any questions in the live. If you send them over in the comments. Richard, thank you. You said, this is amazing, Todd. All the best from Texas. Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate that. You're amazing, man. I know. I got to get you doing some handstands. You let me know if you tried some handstands. Did you get a chance to try some? I mean, if the handstand is completely out of the question, remember, just start with that beginning technique. Really just hone your down dog in. Down dog is such a good pose. It really is an amazing posture. I mean, I don't teach down dog to everybody because some of our students, some of you, have a tricky time with shoulders and wrists. So that's why a child's pose can be good, or we just figure out something that works perfect for you. But thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I really love hearing comments and love seeing you. All right, man. Have a great one, everybody. Until next Thursday, remember, if you're beginning at yoga, check out the 11:30 live stream. And if you're wanting a little bit more advanced technique and tip, come in on the 12 or watch both. Have a great day. Namaste. Richard. Okay, well, let me keep going here. Let me answer your question. I know I'm too stiff, too bulky in my upper body, but I can do it. Yeah, man, that's right. I know the bulky upper body thing is a serious thing to contend with, because I know I'm making it look really easy. I mean, even just this right here, I'm just saying, hey, just lift your arms above your head. But I mean, bulk really, if you're lifting a lot of weights, if you're doing any weightlifting, that will add bulk. So sometimes what we find is, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you really want to learn some handstands, you might actually lay off some of the weightlifting and do more body resistance training. Now, sometimes bulk is just like my build, is really bulky, but the shoulder element, I mean, please be real careful when you start working the shoulder flexibility, because I know what happens is we get really excited and we think, I'm just going to do it all of a sudden, and we push way too hard too fast. So, a couple of really great shoulder stretches, taking the hands behind the back, interlacing and rolling your shoulders back. This is a really good one. Another one, so we can use the wall, and you put your hand on the wall and just kind of lean into, I'm going to grab onto the wall so I'm going to lean my body weight and then just real slowly kind of work rotating the shoulder. So this is a good one to kind of work the shoulder extension. And we have so many different ranges of motion that can happen in the shoulder. And of course, you want to do everything for about the same amount of time on both sides. And the arms above the head, another really good one is to come into a child's pose and place the elbows on the floor, bring your hands in prayer, and then drop your head down and try to touch the back of your head with your hands. And this does an incredible job of opening up the musculature here in the axilla, the armpit area. And what's critical as well is to get that tricep stretch where we have our elbows bending. So this is another really good one just to work on. And again, I think just come up with a 5-minute routine where every day for just 5 minutes, set the alarm, boom, 5 minutes counting down. I'm just going to focus on my shoulder flexibility today. 5 minutes every day. That's all you got to do. It's amazing how much the body responds to attention. Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Really appreciate it. All right. Namaste.